So this is the stamp set. You'll recognise some of these characters from past collections, but there's also a lovely group of new stamps, and those are what I'm going to be using today. I'm also going to be using the Woodgrain stencil. I'm using the grass edge die from the Easy Edges, and then the 3D Delight set. So I've already gone ahead and cut everything. So I've cut this one with the slots in the green, so it represents the grass. I'm going to cut this one in white for the very bottom. And then I've cut, because it's just a single tier, so I've got 2 of the large die here. And then I've cut the layer, and that's the one that I use the Woodgrain stencil on. And I just use the Vintage Photo Distressed Oxide inks. So I've stuck them on. I've also gone and inked all the edges here. And then what you want to do once everything's stuck down is just put a curve into the cardstock. So this is the craft card. This is I think a 300 GSM. So it's going to be nice and strong, which is going to allow it to pop up and hold itself. Okay, and just fold and burnish all of the score lines. I like to go over mine using my scoreboard. You want to prepare those 2. And then I've cut 2 of this one, but I've already stuck one on top of this one. So I cut it just twice like this, and then on one of them just cut the tabs off, so you have one that looks like this, and just stick it over the top. Again, I've inked everything, and then give that a good burnish, but you've now got a really strong platform there that again is going to help push all this open and give you a nice shape. And then I've cut 2 of the main one here, and I've already stuck these back to back, so you just want to make sure that the tabs are all open and you've got something that looks like this. Then I've cut the grass trim here, and I thought it would look nice along the bottom of this one and on the back as well. So I've just cut it a little bit longer, and then I'm just going to trim off the edge there. And then I've got the little sign here, I heard it's your birthday, and I thought that would look really cool just popping out of the grass. And then I might have one of the animals down here, and then the rest I'm going to have built up on the platform. So that's all of the pieces that you want to get cut. So get that all ready and put together like I have. Get your inking and everything done. I'm just going to cut my base one here in white. So first of all, we want to work with these 2 here. Make sure the tabs are facing down. We're going to stick these together. I'm using the liquid glue, but when you use craft card, you might need a little bit more than you'd usually use, because it's a very porous cardstock. So some people prefer to use a red tape. I'm going to use my liquid glue there. So just line all that up and just give that a minute to dry. And then just do the same with the other end. So when they're together, they're going to look like that, and you want there to be that bounce. Okay, once that's completely dry, bring it into more of a circular shape, but just have something like that for now. Next, we're going to take these 2 here, and you want to slide this piece through the slot in the middle of the circle there. If you stuck 2 together, it might be a little bit tighter like mine, but that's fine, as long as you can get it in. And just fold it together and push it right down on top there. And again, I'm going to use my quick grab glue, and you just want to cover all 4 of these tabs. Keep that pushed right the way down, and just push the tabs up either side like so. Just give that a minute to dry. So leave that to one side now. Then you want these 2, and just bring this one so it's got more of a circle shape, and then you want to slide each of the tabs through these ones here. Let's just bring that one out like so. Flip it over, and then pop your glue on the back and fold those over, and just make sure that they're nice and straight. And you want to make sure that the folds here line up with the folds there, and it should all fold flat. Just make sure those tabs are straight. Make sure that everything is running nice and straight next to the lines, like so. Again, give that a minute to dry. Next, you want to stick this one inside here, and the tabs here are going to stick either side of this circle. Now what you want to do is make sure it's just over an inch in from each side. So what you might want to do, if I just take this one back out, open this one up, is with a pencil, you might want to do this before you stick this piece down, but you can still do it like this. It's a smidge over 1 inch. And just put a little pencil mark. You're not going to see any of this. It's just a guide so you know you've got it in the middle. And then I can take my glue. Again, I'm adding a bit more than I usually would just because it's the craft card. And then I'm going to make sure your tabs are like this. You've got like an arrow shape. And then you're going to pop that in. And I'm just looking at those pencil marks. And that sits there perfectly. Let that, I've just kind of tacked it there for a minute, but I can just double check. It's just slid down a little bit that way. Yep, that's bang on. And then I'm just going to close that up and just make sure that that's secure. And again, I'm just lining it up. You can see how everything can move, so just keep it nice and straight. And I can see that that middle tab is running straight with this line here on my scoreboard, so I know everything inside is where it needs to be. Leave that all to dry, and then when you know it's in place, just open it up and spread out that glue and just let it dry in this open position. Okay, and what you can also do is, whilst that's drying like so, is if you just squeeze in the sides here, you'll be able to pop this circle inside this shape. And this is also a good way to test that you've got it in the middle. So don't worry if this dips down for the minute. I'm just kind of pushing it around there like so. There we go. So it goes in. It won't dip down that far in a minute, but you can see I've got that right in the middle. And we've got that 3D shape. Pop that out. And now I'm going to add my glue to both of these tabs. So just make sure that they're facing out. Again, I'm adding a lot more glue than I normally would, because this craft card is just going to stick to another piece of craft card, so I'm hoping it's going to all be okay. Keep them folded down and then bring the whole card up, and again line it up with a line. Just make sure everything is straight. And these tabs are really important because these are the ones that are going to pull that circle down. Whilst that is drying, I'm going to stick the grass on. So I'm just going to line it up there, let it overhang, and then I'll trim that in a moment. Okay, so once you're happy that's all secure, you'll be able to open it up and pop it into place. So now I'm going to stick it onto this base here. I think the white just really sets it off, it frames it really nicely. So I'm just going to fold that back down, and I'm going to use the construction glue this time, just so I've got a nice strong base. And this is just going to really secure those tabs. And then just make sure you've got it in the middle there, so you've got an equal amount on each side. Close that up, and then if you open it and let it dry, open. And I can see a little bit of the white coming through there, so I could have maybe put a bit of green, but what I'm going to do is just make sure that I disguise it with one of the characters. But now I can start building everything up. So I'm going to probably snip a good chunk of that away, so I'm going to take just over half of it away there. It depends what you're sticking on there, but I don't need all that showing. I'm just going to start sticking everything down. So I've stuck everything down, and as I always do, I forgot to add the little mushroom shape. So this die here, it looks like a mushroom. I've cut it, and it will give you this shape here. Okay. And it's then for you to build anything on, but you can snip into them, which I've done. So I've just snipped off the edges, and there's a little fold, a score line, and I've just because I've got double layer there, I've just tapered the sides a little bit just so I can slide it in. Now I'm not going to be able to glue this one, but it does wedge itself in enough that it shouldn't come out. And then I can attach the pig. I thought it looked quite good. So yeah, anything like that, try and remember to do it before. But I'm going to keep it in because it's always good to show people that if you forget like me, it will still work. But the whole point is that you can build things up in the foreground and in the background because you've got one there as well. And then I've got one more little daisy, which I could just have there. Yeah, we'll stick that one. Just a little glue just behind there. How sweet does that look? So then it all folds flat like so. He will fold up. That will all go into a box envelope. You've got your space on the bottom there to be able to write your message, and then it will just open up and it will hold itself in place. I'm going to have to just position the pig a little bit there, but you can see how that all looks. Super pleased with this one. I think it looks lovely, and I hope it's given you a nice idea on a different way to use the stamps in the magazine. So as always, thank you for watching. I will link as much of the product that I've used in the description box below, and I'll be back again very soon. Take care. Bye.